Today we got two monstrous gorillas going head to head. King Kong versus George from Rampage. Who comes out on top? Well, let's find out.
Eyes up. Stay sharp. Stay down. Final warning. I could do this all day.
King Kong is a massive ape, and originally resided on Skull Island, a land lost to time. There he spent his life battling dinosaurs, surviving in the wild, being worshipped as a god to the natives who offered sacrifices to him. Kong is incredibly massive, about 25 feet tall, while still in a crouched position, and weighs anywhere between 20 to 60 tons, which should come at least 7 times larger than the largest silverback gorillas out there. It's also superhumanly strong. It's able to casually knock over rock structures and giant logs, destroy parts of a bridge, and easily crush cars, trolleys, and military vehicles. Kong's destroyed airplanes while balancing on top of the Empire State Building, and probably most impressively, was able to battle against several Vastiosauruses at the same time. He held out one dinosaur with just one arm. He was able to throw 2 of them off of a cliff, evil dangling off the cliff himself, and even savagely broke one dinosaur's head wide open. Kong isn't just superhumanly strong though, it's also superhumanly durable. Kong's been slammed into cliffs or fallen off of them, taken bites and attacks from Vastiosauruses, been pierced through the leg by a harpoon. Then while Kong did end up being killed by aircraft gunfire, he did take plenty of bullets from those guns, as well as from multiple submachine guns, and he survived an explosion by a military cannon. Then, being a gorilla, King Kong is obviously incredibly fast and agile. He's able to easily climb through the trees and cliffs of Skull Island, then climb on top of the buildings in New York City, even onto the top of the Empire State Building. He's also used his speed and agility to battle against multiple dinosaurs at once, while still protecting Andaro, and repeatedly catch her with either his arms or legs. And he's actually able to use his legs as well as he can use his arms. So, that's what we got in one corner. Good old King Kong. But, enter the ring, at the corner, straight out the mean streets of Chicago, George the gorilla. George was a normal albino silverback gorilla, but after being spared of an unknown serum developed by Energyne, he grew to gigantic proportions and transformed into a monstrous gorilla with super strength, durability, and speed. Unlike the other 2 monsters in the movie, George simply grew in size. They didn't exhibit any other physical changes and mutations that affected Ralph and Lizzie. At the highest point of his power, he was strong enough to casually throw military vehicles like toys. He's lifted a helicopter in one hand. He would throw a tank into a helicopter and actually managed to knock a building over. Then in his battle against Ralph and Lizzie, he was able to throw Ralph very far and hit Lizzie with part of a construction crane, sending her flying into a building, repeatedly hit Lizzie with a large truck, and even managed to hold back Lizzie and stop her tail from crushing Davis. George is also superhumanly durable enough to casually withstand bullets, fall from skyscrapers, survive large plane crashes. He was bitten and dragged around by both Ralph and Lizzie, yet still kept on fighting. George is so durable, in fact, that he was surviving an airstrike, and George even seems to have a slight healing factor as well. He's also remarkably fast, said to have been given the speed of a cheetah, and is agile like any good gorilla should be, as George is able to evade military jet fire and climb up and scale down skyscrapers. Then George is remarkably intelligent, even for an ape, and is capable of communicating with others through sign language, and actually appears to have a rather extensive vocabulary. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, King Kong is obviously the most iconic gorilla of all time, and for the longest time, he was seen as the most powerful, easily towering over humans and battling against multiple dinosaurs at once. But today we got a contender for most powerful gorilla, George from Rampage. So who comes out on top? Well, let's find out. Now, first thing we need to talk about here is obviously physicality. Really, it's the only thing we need to talk about. Neither of them have any noticeable skill, remarkable abilities that'll give them an edge over the other. They're just going to be a classic, old-fashioned, knock-em, sock-em, drag-out fight. With that being said, both of these animals are insanely strong. Kong is able to shake and break trees just by moving beside them. He's casually flipped over massive stone structures or giant logs, and easily broke through a large wooden gate. Now, while that's all real impressive, probably Kong's most applicable feats are gonna be when he made it over New York City, started wreaking havoc in the streets. He destroyed the thing that he was being held inside of, broke through the outside of that building, and destroyed plenty of cars, jumped on top of and crushed military vehicles. He even managed to throw into airplanes and rip them in half. But I gotta give the edge to George here. During the Rampage in Chicago, he was able to toss around military vehicles like they were basically toys, lift a helicopter with one hand, throw a tank into a helicopter and destroy both of them. He was even able to knock over a small building. However, you can't definitively say that Kong couldn't do those things as well. It is possible he's that strong. I never really saw him struggle with anything strength-wise throughout the whole movie. While he was throwing on older and lighter military vehicles, he was doing it with ease. But I think what definitely gives George the strength advantage are his fights against the other kaiju monsters. He was able to throw Ralph for a considerable distance, even though Ralph weighs 14 tons. He's able to hit Lizzie with a part of a construction crane, send her tumbling into a building, and knock her out for a good solid minute, even though Lizzie is strong enough to walk through buildings and insanely durable. I really don't see Kong being able to replicate that. Same with durability. George is more durable. Yes, Kong's able to take all those bites from those V-Rexes, he's able to take some light gunfire, even a Thompson submachine gun, but he was famously brought down by those biplanes. And to be fair to Kong, it did take plenty of shots to bring him down, but still, those were 1920s biplanes and 1920s guns. Nothing to really compare to what George has been through. For starters, George is seemingly bulletproof. He can casually take gunfire. But Kong took gunfire as well, so we gotta up with the ante. George survived a plane crash from extremely high up in the air. He actually recovered from falling off a skyscraper, and survived being impaled into some sharp pieces of debris. He's also survived being bitten and dragged around by Ralph, being bitten and slammed down by Lizzie, yet continued to fight. And definitely most impressively, George survived a drone strike. Based on what Kong has shown us, I don't think he's anywhere close to being able to survive a drone strike or take bites and attacks by the massive Lizzie. However, George is stronger and more durable, Kong is faster and more agile, or at the very least, he uses that speed and agility a whole lot more in a fight. Like, look at King Kong's fight against the 3 V-Rexes. These dinosaurs were alpha predators on Skull Island, were larger, faster, and stronger than their descendant the T-Rex, and it's hypothesized that these beasts were what the T-Rex could have been, were allowed to grow and evolve unabated for the past 65 million years. Yet Kong is able to battle against 3 of them at once, generally doing this by relying on his speed and agility, leaping and dodging and ducking and holding them all at bay until he could take them down. To make it even more impressive, King Kong did all this while defending Anne and holding one of his limbs at all times. Kong is even able to make the transition to the city quite easily as well, even managed to evade military gunfire while he was at it. Yes, George evaded automatic gunfire during his battle in the city as well, but Kong used his speed and agility a whole lot more in a fight, as evidenced during his encounter with the dinosaurs. So physically, I had to give the advantage to George. Yeah, Kong might be more agile, but George is stronger, and he's definitely a whole lot more durable. George is also just larger than King Kong. In 2005, Peter Jackson decided to take King Kong in a more traditional sense, which is a large, regular silverback gorilla, putting him around 25 feet tall, at least in a crouched position. On the other hand, Rampage is George listed at around 40 feet tall, and able to scale him up to 55 feet tall. Now, yes, King Kong might have more experience fighting than George, considering it's been the top dog on Skull Island for years, among countless fights against other dinosaurs. But that won't save him in this fight. For starters, George definitely showed he could hang in a fight. He's able to actually overcome and kill larger opponents like Lizzie, and he fights a whole lot smarter too, even incorporating weapons and tools in his battles. Then, like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a fight between 2 animals. Fighting skill isn't going to have a whole lot to do with anything. End of the day, George is too strong and he's too durable. I mean, George is strong enough to overpower Lizzie and knock her into a building. Don't see Kong doing that. George started a drone strike. Don't see Kong surviving that. And when King Kong died before he even fell from the top of the Empire State Building, George was able to fall at the top of the Sears Tower, yet pick himself back up, keep on fighting, and actually win the fight. George is way too much here, even for an opponent like King Kong. George the Gorilla wins. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts, so sound off in the comments down below. Also, be sure that like button, subscribe button, turn on notifications, join the Fanco army. Now we'll see you all next time.